filled her up lately? Well, if you drive, then you probably have. You've noticed the prices. They're up there. Even if you don't drive, you probably heat your home, and or you pay for it in some way or another. Even a renter winds up paying the landlord's portion of the bill for heat that goes into your apartment. So you're feeling the cost one way or another. Rand Taylor joins us. He is the CEO and co-founder of the Industrial Sustainability Group, which is known as Fuelox.com, Fuelox.com. And good evening, Rand.
Good evening, Jim. Thanks for having me on.
Happy to have you on. I'm not sure what Fuelox.com means or what the Industrial Sustainability Group is.
Well, we started the company about 8 years ago as Fuelox with one single product, which is our Fuelox fuel additive. And what makes it different than everything else out there is it has a combustion catalyst in there, which gets your fuel to combust more and burn more cleanly and more thoroughly. What that means for consumers or business owners is that they end up with getting about 5 to 10% better fuel efficiency, but also reducing their emissions while they're doing it at the same time and cleaning out their engines and adding life to the engine as a whole. So
what exactly do you do that enables all of that to happen?
We have a patented technology that actually gets in and it's called a organometallic compound that goes in and mixes with the fuel and basically breaks up the clumps of molecules. So I don't want to get too far in the weeds here, but it makes it so when the fuel goes through the injector into the combustion chamber, it mixes more readily with the air, so it burns much more cleanly and more thoroughly. So you're essentially burning more of the fuel than you normally would, which means you cut down on your exhaust because all your exhaust is unburned fuel.
All right, just wanted that little clarification there. Now then, where are we in regard to oil prices? I've heard it's a 7-year high. Is that right?
It's a 7-year high or 8-year high, depending on where you're looking. But yes, that's exactly what they are. I mean, Goldman Sachs came out yesterday and said they expect to see $100 oil sometime this year. It's about 90 now, a little bit less than 90, I think. But,
if the price of crude oil reached $100 a barrel, what would we be on average? And I know that varies widely across the country. What would we be paying on average for a gallon of gas?
Well, you're about $3.50, $3.60 nationwide right now for a gallon of regular gasoline.
Okay.
So you got to figure if oil goes up another 15% or so, you can tack on another 50, 60 cents on top of that. And of course, if you're in California, you're already paying out the nose for it because those people pay, they're already around $5, I think.
That's just astounding. Now then, in days gone by, of course, it was OPEC which cashed in on all of this. In some cases, OPEC acted like an actual cartel and withheld fuel from the market to raise the price. Now, I know there was a period there where OPEC was the cartel that couldn't price fix straight, and they just virtually fell apart, and members were not banding together like a cartel is supposed to do and driving the prices up. Somebody would give in and say, oh, okay, yeah, go ahead, you can have my fuel for $70 a barrel or whatever. Have they learned how to be a cartel again? Not that I'm rooting for them to do so. I'm just curious about the facts.
I'm not an energy expert by any means when it comes to the pricing and so forth. But my gut tells me that this isn't so much about OPEC as much as it's just about worldwide tensions. Worldwide tensions combined with the fact that we've taken a fair amount of oil off the market here in the United States.
By a fair amount, are we talking about the decisions against shale oil? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I think so. I think that it's pretty well known that that we have as a country, kind of gotten away from what made us all boom here a few years ago with the Bakken and even West Texas and the Gulf, where everybody was doing a fantastic job with fracking and so forth and getting as much oil out as they could. And we were doing fantastic. In fact, we were oil independent, right? We were energy independent for the first time in our history. But really what we're all about is whether it happens to be an issue with, the prices are high because there's OPEC or because there's tensions or because Russia's doing something. What we're all about at FuelOx is just helping the businessman and the consumer wade through this successfully and try to help them to mitigate as much of the pain as we possibly can.
I can remember in days gone by when there used to be, back in the days of yore, if you will, back in my day, I can recall they had price wars, and somebody was maybe charging, and this was back in the days when prices was really low. Let's say somebody was charging $1.50 a gallon, and there's a gas station 4 blocks away that was charging $1.49. People would rush over to that other station, and then somebody else, oh, wait, there's $1.48. Now, of course, this was before the internet and the really rapid transmission of such information. Do we still have price wars? Because I don't seem to be aware of any.
I think that what's happened is that because communication is so fast now, and guys have figured out the game, so to speak, the pricing game that as well as I do. You drive down the street, and if there's a corner with 4 gas stations on it, all 4 have the same price. Or someone has a price that frankly they don't care if they get your business or not, because it's so outlandishly high than the other 3. But there seems to be that, the old idea of gas wars that you and I used to see when we were kids. Now I don't see them happening anymore.
Yeah, because of the apps out there that can tell you instantaneously where the lowest priced gas is within 5 miles of where you are or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah,
understood.
I think there's a number of reasons for that, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Is there anything we can do about it? Just sit back as consumers? I mean, I'm not sure what we can do besides gnash our teeth and whip out our credit card.
Well,
most of us. A lot of people. The driving is not that discretionary. I'm not sure that the Sunday drive, because we feel like it, is a part of our lives anymore. Now, if people are driving, they got to go to work, they got to shop, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think there is always discretionary issues, regardless. But on the same token, I think what you're going to see is people are going to have to get smarter about how they drive, where they drive. The old carpool may come back into style. Who knows? But smart things like I've been reading about how people are recommending that you can do things like, make sure your trunk is empty so you're not carrying around extra weight back there to add to your fuel usage, to like I said, to just cutting out all the little things that you used to run down to the store for. Oh, I need that. I'll go get it. In the meantime, you have to be more frugal about, how you use your car or your truck. The problem is that the consumer, has a real issue, but but the businessman or the truck driver or the guy who has to use his vehicle, he's caught between a rock and a hard place right now. And you're right. All you can do is really, get your credit card out and get ready to pay. Or you can do other little things too, like, use a smart fuel additive, use better lubricant. Use things that make everything more efficient.
You talk about carrying extra weight around. I can recall during the Arab oil embargo of 1973 to 74, we all were carrying a lot of extra weight around. And what it was, of course, was gas tanks that were full. Gas tanks that were full. I mean, that was back when you kept the tank full at every occasion. Well, down a little bit until you'd put in, 3/4 of a gallon and top it off. And we're driving around, and gasoline is heavy. And you get down to 3/4 of a tank, you're getting worried because of all those gas lines. And, you don't want to even get anywhere near below half a tank. Because then, who knows? I mean, you get to the point where you're in a gas line and you might run out of gas just waiting to get to the gas pump. That was our thinking. But seriously, a lot of the gasoline that was not available in the 73 to 74 Arab oil embargo was gasoline we had in our cars, which not only we had already purchased and was cutting the fuel efficiency of the gas that was being burned, but it was also gas that was heavy and was causing us to use more gas.
Right. Yeah, it's those were different times for sure. Will they come back again? I hope not. I seem to think that there's a fair amount of fuel out there. I don't think that the real risk is a huge a dearth of fuel that that people are just scrounging for it. I just think that you're going to see, because there's a lot of countries out there who who really do sell a massive amount of fuel. Now if Russia were to cut back on their fuel exports, that would definitely have an impact. But the bottom line is they still need to make money, and that's really why OPEC fell apart the first time, is because you had certain countries that needed money more than others, and that's the way of the world, right? So I don't foresee that happening, but it doesn't mean that oil is not going to go to $100 or $120 in the next couple of years. Frankly, everything I'm seeing is everyone thinks that these prices are here to stay for a while at least.
Wow.
So I think I think people should prepare for that, and they should do everything they can to help mitigate that.
All right, Rand Taylor, CEO and co-founder of Industrial Sustainability Group, and fuelox.com is their website, fuelox.com. And we'll continue with some calls for our guest as well as we feel the pain at the pump. 1-866-50-JIMBO, 1-866-505-4626. Call us right now and we'll get you on the radio. 1-866-50-JIMBO. Back in a moment.